G'day YouTube, this is Matto here speaking again. Today we have a Honda lawnmower. I bought this pretty cheap off a mate of mine, and I wanted something that would last me quite a long period of time. And you know, all these new lawnmowers these days that have plastic bases, these things are strong, you know, strong steel, good engines, really well made, overhead valves and etc, etc. Now I've run this probably about 4 or 5 times, and a couple of things, it tends to start up a bit rough when it's cold, and the oil was getting a bit disgusting. As you can see, I've emptied out the oil, but overall it runs really great. I also noticed that the grass wasn't cutting very well. Now for those that know Honda lawnmowers pretty well, this is one of the self-propelled ones, except the self-propeller is missing, but I don't really need that. I manned up and decided that I'll just you know, cut my grass by pushing my lawnmower around instead of having self-propelled. A little tip here, this is one of the oil filler things. The fill check, the oil check, dipstick, if you want to call it that, is whenever you put these on the ground, just give them a wipe off before you put it back in. That way no dust and dirt gets back in the motor. So we'll just wipe that off. Whenever you check a Honda lawnmower, for those who don't ever or have never owned one, all you do is stick it in like that and take it out and take your reading. Of course there's no oil in this, it's all down there. Now you've got 2 ways of emptying oil. One, take the lid out like that, turn it upside down with this part of the motor as close as you can get to that, or undoing this bolt here, but as you can see, where's the oil going to go? All over the base and make an absolute mess of the thing. So I did it the easier way. Whenever you do a service, it's a great idea to always take out your air filters. There'll be 2 in this model. One is a fine air filter, which is made out of foam, and the other one's a paper-based air filter. Looks a bit like one that you'd find in a modern car these days, a square or rectangular filter. Which is, in this lawnmower, I just needed to blow them out. The fine filter, I probably won't replace it this time, but probably next time. Let's just see how it goes. It is a bit icky and yucky. Actually, I'll pull it out and show you. Ooh, did I tighten that too much? No. So, here we go here. Ooh, I'll grab the filters out. As you can see, it looks like just like a car filter. This one's not in a bad nick, it just required a blowing out. And as you can see, that one there is a bit icky and grimy. I did wash it out in some hot soapy water, and I've put it back in so and clean it out a bit. But probably next time I'm going to replace that. This is only going to be a home-based mower, it's not commercial, so it's not as, you know, important to go out and replace that straight away. Put the screw back in. These things don't need to be super tight, just when they get tight, there, 1/4 of a turn. Okay, on this one I've taken out the spark plug. As you can see, it looks like the tip is the ground electrode has been bent over a couple of times to shorten that gap. This is a NGK series BP or B8ES. I had a look at the operator's manual of these engines, which it's a Honda GXV 140. It's a 5 horsepower engine, fairly powerful for the home use. Most people only run a 3.5, 4 horsepower at the most. And I found out that you can use BPR 5Es. Now, considering this is an 8 and it ran well, and considering if you watch my last videos, I got an extra spark plug for nothing for my GQ Patrol. These are the BPR 6Es, which is just 1 stage colder. So I'm going to use this plug just because I have it. Now again, with the spark plugs, don't do them up too tight. Anyway, I'll get this ready and I'll come back. Again with the spark plugs, a smear of some Loctite 771 will stop it from ever seizing the head. I know that this is not a car engine, but still a good idea to put a bit of it on to ever stop it from, you know, so it's easy to get out and you don't have to wrench it with a great big bloody bar or anything like that. These don't tend to get stuck, but you never know. Leave it in there for long enough, it probably will. Servicing, oil changes, depending on if you're commercial. If you're commercial, you'll probably want to do it every couple of months to every 3 months. I don't know how many hours it does, but if you're just a homeowner, just like me, every year. Change the oil, check your spark plugs, check the air filters. If it has a fuel filter, which I think this one does, check your fuel filters or change them. So now I don't know if this one's actually checkable. I haven't even 1/4, half. That's it, 1/8 and a bit. Okay, so that spark plug's in, brand new. On the book it also says the spark plug should be a 0.8 gap, which is exactly what this one is. 0.68 to 0.8. So the old one was like 1 mil. Okay, so we'll have a look at the fuel filters. I don't know if it's got an inline fuel filter. I've never really worked on one of these mowers, so this is going to be all new to me. Go straight in the fuel tap. Anyway, I'll have a look for that after. Probably I'll get rid of all the fuel before I touch the fuel filter anyway, because it's still got fuel in this mower. Oil, most people just run standard 10W50 or 10W40 car engine oil, which is what I'm using. I'm using a 15, a bit thicker, as this lawnmower's done a lot of hours as a commercial unit. Anyway, I'll fill it up with oil and we'll run it. Our first lesson to be learned about filling up oil in this lawnmower is that, one, I've got 2 oil containers. One's got old oil, the other one's got new oil. Guess what I did? I stuck in the old oil first until I looked at it and went, hang on a minute, that ain't new oil. So I had to re-drain it out again and put in the fresh oil this time. One thing to make sure whenever you're filling up any type of lawnmower is that you don't overfill the oil. Hydro lock in the motor, or whatever you want to call it. There's an oil lockup, compression lockup of the engine, where the engine will not start or run, or probably won't even turn over. Secondly is that when you run the engine fast, if you've got a bit too much oil in there, it can do a bit of damage. The oil can pass by the oil control rings and start smoking. There's just actually a few reasons why you wouldn't do it. And sometimes even blow your piston out if you're very unlucky, which is highly unlikely, but usually they just lock up and you just can't run them. Alright, well, we've got oil in here, so why don't we start her up? Okay, so it's just about ready to start. Sorry about the planes above, they're quite annoying at times. So we're going to ramp that right up to the choke. Okay, let's pull it over. Way too easy. Now if your lawnmower revs any faster than that and you're just normally having it run speed, I'd be advising that you check your governor speeds, as they shouldn't be over revving to the hell house just to cut a bit of grass. They should only rev up a bit harder, not necessarily faster but harder, as in accelerating while cutting grass if you're cutting very long grass. Anyway, The next problem that I have with this mower, and something that you should always check just after you've changed the oil and everything, is the blades. So why don't we do that? We'll stop it and we'll check the blades. Now, there's several ways people check blades on these. One of the easiest ways is to just open the catcher and turn the motor around by hand. Of course, in the stop position with the fuel caps turned off. And have a look at that. The blades, they can fold back like that. That's pretty normal. That's so that you don't shear off any blades. But when we have a look at that, it seems like I can see a fair bit of wear on that blade. So let's have a look. Put it in the middle here, and we'll turn it over. Oh, it's hard to do with one hand. Right. So we'll turn the mower around now. It's pretty disgusting under here. And I've had problems with this actually running a catcher. Now, as you can see, the blade, it's meant to have a nice shape on the blade. As you can see, that's very worn. It's actually very sharp. Now, it's meant to look like, if you're looking at it at this angle, it's meant to have a curvature in it. As you can see, these curves have totally worn off on both blades, and so they're going to need replacement. So now I'm going to have to go to a mower shop and see if they've got any blades for this model. Just be wary when you're turning this around, as if there's still fuel and if your ignition is still turned on, there can be a case where they can just fire up for you. So before you do this, it's probably advisable, especially if the mower's been running, to pull out your spark plug, and that way you won't get the thing starting up on you just by turning it a couple of turns, or doing that, for instance. Because if that goes while you're turning it over, look out, it can be deadly. Anyway, the blades are pretty easy to take off, I'd imagine, just by unbolting it from the back. So we're going to do that, and we'll see what the mower shop has and put some new ones in. Easy to take out. As you can see now, it's got a curvature in it, and only part of it. Now, what that curvature actually does is pretty fascinating. For models that have a catcher, they always have curved blades, and the reason is that when you want to cut the grass, you want all the grass to end up out the back of this mower in the catcher. So what it does, it picks it up, it literally acts as a fan blade, picks it up, pushes it around the back of this curved tube behind the blades here, and shoots it out the back with air force, so it all lands in the catcher. Now, this mower, the last 3 times I've used it, has not really been doing it that well, so that would be the reason why. Ants. Now, another thing to make sure of when you're buying blades, it is always highly recommended that you don't reuse the old bolts. Simple fact, they have nylox. The nylox wear out, they get hot, they physically get warm, they get a lot of moisture and just a lot of abuse, and you don't want one of these blades flying out at about 1,000,000 miles an hour while you're trying to mow your grass. Another thing to look at is also the base. Now, this base is in a good condition. As you can see, there is no signs of cracking, no signs of distortion in the hole, like that's still got its nice D shape in there, and as you can see, the bolt is a D shape. Now I'll just take that one apart, show you that. The bolt is a D shape, and the reason for that is so when you push them in, as you can see, they got no head. It actually holds them into place so that you can do them up and tighten them and unloosen them easily. So we'll check the other hole now. As you can see, there's no signs of cracking. Some people take this whole plate off and they inspect in behind there. I've had a go at cracking that off, and unless I get my air gun out, which is not here at this house, there's no way I can check that. It is just that bloody tight. Anyway, so I'm going to go out now and see if I can get some new blades for this nice little monster. So here we are, heading towards the mower shop, seeing if I can get one of these blades, or 2 of them should I say. It's a good old Dandenong Road. out in Narra, where anything can and will go wrong. Oh, look at these three. This is the first time I've seen three of these in a row. 1, 2, and 3. So by rights, I think the mower shop's in here. I've never been to this mower shop, so I can't say whether they're going to be good, bad, or indifferent. But I tell you what, if they are good, you'll know about it. Power equip. I'll choose the easiest parking space that I can find. As you can tell, this is a big car and I couldn't be screwed to try and park it in such a small place. Okay, let's see how we go. Looks like I was in luck. Brand new lawnmower blades. Now I don't know if you can see that there, I hope you can. But as you can see, it's got the curvature there for the airflow of the mower. Now, 15 bucks, not bad. I don't know, they're not original parts, but probably a lot cheaper. So, why don't we go home and try and put them in. New blades installed in the lawnmower. As you can see, when you install these new blades, it says in the instructions, make sure you're still able to move the blade around, that it's not so tight that when you go like this, that you can't move the blade. So as you can see, this one has been tightened to the shit house and it's still a bit loose, so I've never come across one like that. But the other one, I remember the old one was also a bit loose on one side as well. And this one is pretty reasonable. Okay, well we'll turn it over and restart it. Here we go. Turned on its side for so long doing the blades. It's not a worry, it will blow out eventually. Now, another thing to note is the noise that it makes. As you can hear, it's making a more whooshy, airy noise. It's like a... I can't really explain it. It's make a deeper growl beneath the exhaust sound of the mower, and that's because now you're getting all that fan flow coming out of the back. So now if I went and mowed the grass, I should have a full catcher within minutes. This is Matto over and out. See ya.